Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Wootini's GayGamer.net podcast. I am Wootini. I have with me the lovely NaviFairy, and we just finished E3. So we're a little exhausted, so if this podcast kind of rambles and goes off on tangents, or if one of us falls asleep during it, that's why, because we're kind of exhausted. So let's start with, let's start with the big three. Okay. We'll start with Microsoft, who had really nothing but games to show this year. There was no hardware.
And most of those games were Kinect.
Right, they're really pushing the Kinect hard.
Yeah.
And, although having played a bunch of Kinect games at E3, I'm rather psyched for quite a few of them. We'll get to that later. And then we had Sony, who then they had their big hardware announcement of the Sony Vita, which I still don't like as a name, but that's just me. It's better than NGP, whatever. But still, I kept thinking it was like a fake name, but then you're actually playing it and it says Vita on the bottom of it, and you're like, I guess that's for real.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't anything else. Well, there was nothing else big that they announced though, game-wise, that you saw.
Well, the big game announcement for them was, I think, was that there's a new Sly Cooper coming. They didn't really tell anything about it. There was just a trailer that really didn't give any gameplay, but just that a new Sly Cooper is coming. And they have a new 3D TV that actually has so that when two people are playing on it, instead of split screen, if you're using the 3D glasses, because it's 3D TV, then each person gets the full screen image in 3D instead of it being split screen. Which
that's sort of wild. And it's 3D for each person?
I think so. I didn't actually get to try it, but I assume since it's 3D glasses that it would be. But
well, no, it actually makes sense that it wouldn't be because you would have. Because 3D is the two images together, but it could make one person see one image and one person see the other, and that way you don't.
I don't know. I didn't
have
try
to split screen, but that's kind of neat. And then the last press conference was because Microsoft and Sony they jump the gun and go first. Although usually Sony is right after Nintendo on the first day of E3, but not this year. They jumped the gun a bit. And then Nintendo kicked off E3 with their own press conference where there was a really heavy push for 3DS titles, and the only Wii U title that really got any play was Zelda Skyward Sword, which we all saw last year, but it's still not out, and it still won't be out till the end of this year, but, it better be really good if they waited this long for it. But there were Wii titles at Nintendo's booth that they just didn't have time for in the press conference because they had their big announcement of Wii U.
Yeah.
Wii U! So, that kind of blew everybody out of the water. Nobody was quite sure what to expect from them, and everybody was impressed, but, all they had was tech demos, so there wasn't really any games to show, so it's kind of like. But then the next day, Ubisoft gave a presentation where they showed off some actual game demos of Ghost Recon and Killer Freaks from Outer Space. That one in particular was pretty cool. So you got a sense more of what developers were going to do with this new technology, because I just hope it doesn't get gimmicky. That's my concern. Because with the Wii, you had a lot of people who were like, oh, well, we'll just have Waggle. But, now we have, we'll have a touchscreen. So
I don't know, my concern is that it sounds like you can only use one of the Wii U screen controllers with each system.
Yeah. See, this is the problem.
That would be.
This is the problem. Nintendo. I feel like Nintendo kind of jumped the gun a little because they wanted to make sure they had something big to announce at E3. And next year's E3, they're going to have all the games to show. But they didn't want it to just be about the 3DS and the last couple Wii titles and whatever. They wanted to announce their big new console, but they don't really have anything to show for it yet. So they were very cagey about a lot of different aspects. During the Ubisoft presentation, they talked about how Ghost Recon Online has this whole online thing. You have this whole online environment, you have friends lists and everything, and people tried asking about is that for just Ghost Recon, or is that for the Wii U in general, or how does that... And nobody would talk about any kind of online friend code, nothing. And somebody else asked about how when they did 2-player Killer Freaks, one person had the tablet and the other person he actually had a classic controller that he was playing. And they were like, can there be 2 Wii U controllers on the same TV? And they're like, oh, well, we can't really talk about that. Because it's so early that I don't even think they finalized certain things about the console. So everybody's just being really cagey about details, and nobody wants to actually say anything in detail. So, so who would you say, in the end, for you, won of the big 3? Because they always talk about who won the press conferences. So who do you think had the most impressive showing?
For me, I'd say I think Sony did.
Me too.
I'm not normally the biggest Sony fan, but just overall, they were announcement after announcement after announcement, like actual news things, whereas the other two tried to make more of a spectacle of it and tried to do the showmanship, where Sony actually showed the goods.
Right, that's my problem. I mean, Microsoft, I feel like, wasn't even in the game this year because all it was just games.
And
Kinect.
I mean, the things that were Kinect were multi-platform games, like Tomb Raider and Call of Duty were their big things.
And they're not exclusives, so, whatever. And I would have to give the slight edge. I mean, I feel like Sony, nobody blew. It's not like last year where Nintendo was like 3D without glasses, and everyone's mind was blown, and they clearly walked away with the win. This year, I feel like Nintendo and Sony were kind of neck and neck because they both had their announcements, but Sony's was not that great of an announcement because everybody already knew about it. Well, you were just getting to really see it for the first time, and Nintendo's was a big revelation, but since they didn't have all the details to tell you, it was kind of weakened by that. But I would give Sony the edge too, just because the Vita is a really impressive piece of hardware. Yeah. Now I just need games to play on.
And what made me upset about Nintendo is that they had a lot of other games that they had on the show floor that they didn't mention at all in their...
Yeah,
there's a new Kirby game coming. Did you know that?
No.
But it's actually really good. It's 4-player co-op, and you can play as Kirby, DDD, a Waddle Dee, and Meta Knight, and all co-op, and it's awesome. But they didn't even mention it in the press conference.
Yeah, no. And there's a new Animal Crossing game. There is an Animal Crossing game. They didn't show it, but there was a logo amongst all the other logos of games for 3DS, and there's a trailer that you can download on the eStore, so it is in development, but they didn't talk about it. So, alright. What about, just a few, standout games that you saw on the floor?
Well, of course, Skyrim. That game is
beautiful.
It's just gorgeous, and, I mean, the dragon battles are amazing. Work really well in the first-person perspective, and, I don't know, everything about it just looked amazing, and I can't wait to lose another 400 hours of my life to it, like I did the last one.
I gotta take a week off when that comes out.
So that was a big one. And then the other one that really surprised me was XCOM, which I know there's a lot of hate for out there because it's a first-person shooter, whereas the old games were the tactical grid-based games. But it's actually turning out really nice. They're putting tactics in. It actually looks a lot more like Mass Effect now, where you have even the point where you're pausing the action and have the actions for your squad mates and directing them around the battlefield, and it looks really cool. And there's a prominent gay character, which is always great. And
he's your Princess Zelda.
Yeah, he gets kidnapped by the aliens, and you have to go off into a portal and rescue him, and that's like a big part of the game is rescuing the homo. So
is he cute?
He's like 80.
Oh. Sorry. Made me look bad. I'm not ageist, I swear. And anything else? That was just 2. You can have 3. 3 favorites. I will allow 3.
A third favorite. Well, we were talking about the PlayStation Vita. There's a game called Sound Shapes for it. It's made by the developer of Everyday Shooter, which is also on PSN. But it's a platformer where normally you're collecting like coins or whatever. You're collecting these little balls, and every one you collect adds notes to the soundtrack of the level. And so as you just go on, it just creates this musical score as you go. And it's a really cool effect. And when you take damage, it takes away the last note that you collected. So like you're rewarded by creating this good music as you play, and punished by the music going away. And then there's also this whole level editor that's really easy to use, and it uses the back touch panel really well for like placing and making the size of platforms up. It's really good, and that's probably the Vita game that I'm most excited about, even though it's probably going to end up being like a PSN release. I don't know, it doesn't look like it's a full game, but it's a really fun experience for what it is.
I have to say, there was no... I mean, Skyrim was gorgeous, but that might have won if I'd been able to play it. Of course, if I'd been able to play Skyrim, I would never have played anything else.
Still be playing it.
I'd still be there. They'd have to be, like, prying my hands off the controller. So there was no real, like, standout game for me that was like, whoa. I made a point of trying a lot of the Kinect games that were on offer from Microsoft and from all the different developers, just because I'm desperate for, like, good new Kinect titles. And this is going to sound so strange. There were 3 standouts for me in the Kinect arena. One, believe it or not, was Disneyland Adventures. I'm not even kidding you. I didn't think when they had the trailer that said, you can explore the park. I'm like, yeah, right, you can explore the park. Like, touch that, and they'll just, you know. No, they have digitally recreated in 3D the entire Disneyland park from the maps. Like, everything is where it's supposed to be, and you literally shift your shoulders to turn left and right, and you point, like a little kid pointing, I want to go there. And you point, and you will go in that direction. You point there, you go in that direction. And there's all kinds of, like, you know, like, you have, like, a magic wand, then you can interact with, like, there was a Dumbo bush that I interacted with, and it, like, you know, he like, hoots his trumpet, his nose, whatever, and, like, coins and stuff fly out. You collect the coins, and then you can buy stuff at the store, and, like, there's all sorts of things to collect in the park and stuff, and you can interact with the characters, like, not me, but the other person that was playing it at the same time walked up to Mickey Mouse, and you can high-five him, you can give him a hug. It's so ridiculous. Like, you're literally visiting the park in your living room. And it looks really good, and it's not your actual Xbox avatar. You have to create a new one for the game, because they're kind of like in the Disney style, you know, like a Disney cartoon character, but you can make it look like that. But it'll have, like, bigger eyes and such. And then instead of riding the rides, you play mini-games, and I played the Alice in Wonderland one where you're, like, in a little hamster ball. It was like Super Monkey Ball, and you had to, like, you know, do this and then jump over obstacles. And it was Alice was playing croquet with you, and you went careening through the, you know, the level. But the other guys played the Big Ben flying game from Peter Pan, and it was gorgeous. Like, you're flying around London at night, and it just looked so pretty. And I was like, this is so much fun. I couldn't believe it. And then I also had... Like, I like the surprise games that you're like, what? Fruit Ninja Kinect was also so much fun, because instead of, you know, everyone knows Fruit Ninja, but instead of going like this to slash the fruit, you're actually, like, karate chopping in front of your TV. So it's ridiculous fun. You get a couple of people together, have a party, karate chopping, it's hilarious. It was great. And I stood right next to the guy who's helping me demo it, and he was telling me all about it. We didn't hit each other once. He says that in the whole of E3, there were no accidents, no black eyes. I can't believe that, because it gets really frantic, but the other one that surprised me and came out of nowhere was during my Konami booth tour, where it was called Lead Me's. It's an Xbox Live Arcade title, and you control a stick figure on the screen, and it's a puzzle game. It's not like Lemmings, I guess, but, like, there's a portal that opens and these little cute, adorable little creatures come out, and you have to use your body as, like, a bridge to, like, have them go down one arm and then down the other, and they'll crawl across you, and then you have to lead them to the exit portal. But you have to pick up stars along the way, because you have to have a certain number of stars before you can finish the level and stuff. I played, like, 3 levels of it, and I'm like, I was like, I have to stop, because I have to go see other games, but I'm like, this is, like, oddly fun. I like puzzle games, and that's the kind of thing where it's not a dancing game and it's not a fitness game. Because I played Dance Central too, but it's just Dance Central again. And I played Ultimate Fighter as well, which was really, really cute guy was showing me how to play it. It was really good. Not an Ultimate Fighter, just a cute guy. And but that's just another fitness game. But this was like a puzzler, and I'm like, thank you. Somebody's doing something a little more interesting and creative with the Kinect. And that was something, like, I love those, where they just sort of come out of nowhere, and, like, you go to this appointment, and you're like, yeah, whatever, and then you're like, oh, hey, that was actually really, really awesome, and I kind of can't wait to play that. And then I also focused a lot on 3DS games, and while I would love to say that Resident Evil Revelations was probably my favorite, because it looked stunningly gorgeous, I've got to give the edge to Luigi's Mansion 2, because it was just so much fun, and I think that's going to be a really great game, and I really wish that I didn't have to wait till the end of the year to play it. They claim that the schedule's too full. Whatever.
So many 3DS games coming out right now.
Yes, it's just so full. Was there anything that was like a disappointment?
Disappointment. I tried Resistance 3 at Sony, and I mean it was okay. It's still very rough, so I don't know how much of it is just that it's an early build, and how much of it is that the AI just doesn't realize you're standing right next to it. But yeah, there's that, and then also I'm a big Sonic fan. Sonic Generations. Again, either the controller that they were using to demo it was broken, or there's a full half-second lag between pressing the button and the character jumping. So I didn't bother going back to try it with a different controller. But
yeah, you always say that. It's like every year you're like, I'm such a big Sonic fan, and this new Sonic game just doesn't look very good.
I liked Sonic Colors last year, and then the actual game wasn't as good as the
You're
E3
always
demo.
disappointed.
It happens. I just give up.
I'm not disappointed by it, but Silent Hill Downpour, I was very concerned because last time they had the Wii game, and I'm like, ooh, how's this gonna play? I don't know. Like, it was kind of a departure for the series. There was the whole, like, psychological interview aspect, and then it was all racing, there was no combat, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, this could be really weird, but then when I actually was able to play it, I was like, no, actually, this is pretty awesome, and they've really done a good thing here. This one, Downpour, is more of a throwback to, oh god, what was it, Homecoming. And I was like, oh, I did not like Homecoming. So I was very nervous about it. And it feels like they sort of took a couple aspects from Shattered Memories, most of Homecoming, and then like sprinkled some Alan Wake on top of it. Like, that's what I feel. Like, I was hoping that playing the demo would make me feel better and go, oh, okay, they're on the right track. I was not enthusiastic about it. I'm still very wary of Downpour. I don't know. That's just me.
I actually liked it.
The chase part when you're running down the hallway and it
Yeah.
kept extending, that was really awesome. Like, that was really cool. But, like, I don't know, it was just like running, it felt so much like Alan Wake. I was like when you're outside, there's the gas station, and then you climb up on the roof, and then I'm like you're all outdoors in the trees and the rocks, and I'm like, yeah, I played this, it was called Alan Wake. Like, it didn't quite feel like Silent Hill to me. But I mean, that's also just this demo, this area of that was in the demo, so it could be more Silent Hill-y later. I also broke it. Which, I swear to God, normally it's not E3 unless I break something, and after I broke the Wii U tech demo on the first day, I crashed one of the Wii U tech demos, and I said, ta-da, it's E3, I've broken something. I also broke Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I broke one of the 3DS games at Majesco, and I was not playing the Orcs and Men demo, but when he was playing it and I was watching him playing it, that also crashed. I'm like, I must emit some kind of EMP that like causes these games to crash, I swear. So, alright, this is going on too long. So, final thoughts? How did you like this E3 in general?
I think there's a lot of good stuff this year. I don't have the same, like, one thing that I'm super psyched for like I did after last year, but I think it's a wider breadth of things. So there's still a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I feel like this E3 was, like, not really a letdown. Like last year, it was all like, oh my god, 3DS, this is amazing. And so, like, there was no real standout this year of, like, this is the game. This is amazing.
Right.
But like I did play a lot of really fun games that I'm very much looking forward to playing whenever they get released. Hopefully soon, because some of them I don't feel like waiting until next year for. Because you know there's going to be delays. They're like, oh, it'll be out sometime in the fall. It'll be out for the holiday season. Yeah, not always. But I was looking forward to seeing. I mean, I knew there were going to be good 3DS games coming, but I was really hoping to like get my hands on some good, hands off some good Kinect games. And there were quite a few Kinect games where I'm like, okay, my Kinect will not always just be playing Dance Central and Your State Fitness. There are going to be other games that it will play. So that's it for us. We need to go take a nap because we're freaking exhausted now.
Yes.
So goodbye all of you, and I hope you enjoyed this, and be sure to check out gaygamer.net for all of our E3 coverage, because we are going to have articles for weeks, because there's been no time to write them, because we've been playing them. So now we have to go write. So, bye!
Bye.